So welcome to this week's video blog. This week I wanted to talk about the role of acceptance on the recovery path. I know that for a lot of people, and certainly me in my own healing journey, really accepting what's happening often feels like a very difficult thing, because it feels like if we accept what's happening, that we're giving into what's happening. It's like if we accept it, we have to accept that this is it, this is our life. And as a result, what many of us tend to do is we tend to go into denial about what's happening. And for me on my path, that was really for the first couple of years, hiding to my friends, and when I was able to go to school for an hour or two, to try and hide at school what was happening, because I guess I felt so ashamed of what was happening that I felt I wasn't, a guy anymore. I was weak, that I couldn't do sport. And of course the danger of this is that we're always still pushing ourselves, and we're never really listening to what our body's trying to say, because we don't want to hear it, quite honestly. And I think it's really important to make the distinction between accepting where we are for now, so we can really be in touch with the truth of where we are, to then be able to move forwards. It's a very big difference between that and just giving in forever and just saying, this is it, this is my life, I give up, I'm never going to get better, and just giving into it. So obviously I'm not advocating that, but by really accepting where we are, we can then start to get a really clear plan of how we're going to move forwards. And actually there's a real calming of the nervous system when we're actually starting to really listen to what our body's trying to communicate to us. This also very much links into anyone who's working on the psychology side of the clinic and who's done work around stress states and healing states and that kind of thing, that as you start to come into your body, what often people will notice is if there's symptoms there and that kind of thing, is a state of anxiety in reaction to that. So again, it's a lack of acceptance of where we are. We get in touch with our symptoms, then we start panicking about them. So some of you watchers may already have started to do some work around calming down those responses, so you can really be in your body in a healing state, so your body can really heal. So, by the way, this also links into something that we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a future video blog, and we've certainly talked about a fair bit on secrets, that if we're not able to accept for ourselves what's happening, it's very difficult for those around us to accept what's happening. Because if we're not accepting it for ourselves, we tend to be trying to cover it up, or we tend to try and pretend we can do more than we can, whatever our coping strategies are, and therefore it gets very confusing to those around us. So one of the key ways of getting the support of others is giving the support to ourselves first. And also, again, I'm in danger of going on various tangents here, but also avoiding having valued judgments of where we are. Because what can sometimes happen is we accept where we are, and then we see it as some kind of failure. That we've failed in our life, that we've got ill, we've failed in our recovery because we haven't yet got where we want to get. Rather than recognising that we're actually absolutely where we're meant to be. Because that's where we are. And therefore taking where we are and accepting it, but also doing everything we can to then move ourselves forwards. This is the balance between committing to moving forwards, but surrendering to where we are. This is something we could talk about for a long, long time, and I know we've done quite a lot on secret recovery in the past about it, so I'm just going to keep it brief here, but I guess in summary what I'm saying is take a little bit of time this week to look at where you are with your acceptance of your situation, and have you yet made the distinction between accepting where you are so you can calm your system and move forwards, and just giving into it forever. Because if you can accept where you are, you can get an action plan to move forwards, you give yourself the possibility of change. So anyway, thanks for watching this week. I look forward to talking with you again in a week's time.